September 2020 video horoscopes for the 12 signs. I'm Lada from astrolada.com. Welcome to the craziest year and one of the tougher months. September, October, November, guys, months we're not gonna forget. And months of big spiritual growth. That's what we say to make you feel good. But indeed, you will see months where Saturn and Mars are square all the time. Mars is going retrograde this month, which means that some great feat of willpower will be required from us, and some great use of willpower, but we'll eventually will be able to achieve something tremendous by November, December, that we'll be so proud of. So we'll speak about each of the 12 signs, how Mars retrograde affects us. But just to let you know, me and Brian are making a fantastic webinar this September, in the middle of September. It's called speed reading the birth chart. So basically what it means to have the sun, moon, ascendant in different signs, how to tie them together, how to interpret the chart, what it means for you. And it's from the point of evolutionary astrology. I'm very excited about this webinar. Last webinar Brian did had 300 or 400 people, so, and it's 30% discounted. Come and join us to see how to quickly read the birth chart and what it means. It's for beginners, even for advanced or beginners. You don't need to know much astrology to understand it. Thank you so much. Let's start with the signs. Taurus, rising sun and moon, September 2020. Well, the biggest news is that Mars is going retrograde in your 12th house. This is very rare occurrence. Last time it happened was 1989 or something. It's not going to happen till 2060, whatever. So it is a rare opportunity, even though a hard one, because it is Mars, but to really kind of battle your inner demons. The 12th house is the subconscious. And you know that all our actions, maybe 95% of our actions, are controlled by the subconscious. Then, you know, experiences from past lifetimes that kind of motivate us to do or not do something without our consent, without our consciously realizing it, or you know, anything that is buried that has such a tremendous power over us in a subconscious way to direct our actions. And Mars there wants you to re-examine that. For some of you, when Mars goes retrograde, and it will be retrograde from the 9th of September, and you can feel it even before that, till around till the middle of November, so for 2 months as well, basically. And when this happens, when Mars goes retrograde in your 12th house, you might start digging deep in your subconscious. It might be a fantastic time to work with a psychologist or past life regressionist, or someone who can pierce the veil of the worlds for you, because Mars is like a sharp instrument. And the 12th house is very subconscious, is the higher, is the invisible worlds, you know, where all the motivations for our actions are kept. So that can be a fantastic time to work with someone, or some of you might even have it spontaneously, that they start remembering things they have forgotten, or dreaming about things that they don't even think is them, maybe dreams from past lifetimes, that they're resolving some anger issues they have with someone in their dreams. That's what happened to me when I had Mars retrograde 2 years ago in my 12th house. Every night almost, I was dreaming of fighting with people that I was never, that people that I would never stand up before in my life, that have wronged me, and I kind of swallowed it, and I never expressed my anger. And I started dreaming that I'm expressing my anger of them, that I'm fighting, that I'm punching them. To be honest, after that, I felt, yes, it was kind of when it was happening, but you kind of can work in the dream world, in the invisible world, through some anger issues, through some past lifetime or earlier life, you know, aggressive tendencies, or you know, unresolved problems as well. So at least that's good, because nothing actually manifested so much in my outward world, like some big power struggles or fights with people. I kind of experienced it, well, there were a few, but I experienced it kind of on the subconscious, on the internal realms. And if you can work with a professional psychic, or even astrologer, 12 house rules, or counselors, spirits, guides, you know, those that can really get to the subconscious part of you, that can be a fantastic time to clear up the old demons, the things that you fear the most. And of course, Mars can start awakening those fears. and you might not realize why, but you might be afraid of something for no reasons. It can even awaken certain old phobias or stresses from the subconscious, but it only does it so it can, evaporate it when they come to the surface. It can get evaporated by the heat of Mars as well. And when some buried anger comes to the surface, it can be controlled easier. It can be released as well. And on another level, the 12th house is hidden enemies. And as I said, hidden enemies can be external ones. That's the negative side that you have to be more careful about. Some crisis can happen. For example, you finding out that someone is doing something behind your back. This is another thing that happened to me when I had Mars retrograde. It wasn't too dramatic. Depends what aspect Mars is making from your 12th house. If it's difficult aspects, you have to check your personal transit. Possibly you can do it for free from my free transit calendar. I'll put a link for it. But it can just realize that someone behind the scenes has been doing something. And to be honest, I didn't do anything about it. It resolved itself on its own. It's important when Mars is retrograde not for you to start the war. If someone starts the war with you, you can respond, because the ones who starts the war during retrograde period is the one that usually loses it, according to ancient astrology. But if you're challenged, if you're first provoked and you're not doing those behind, because there is another side to the 12th house, it's things that you can do behind the back. So be careful that you don't get yourself involved in some intrigues and doing something harming someone behind someone's back, talking bad, or just Mars can be any harmful actions, and just gossiping, or what's that called, like slandering someone. Mars is hurtful stuff, so I would advise you, please don't get yourself involved in that and creating karma, because you can basically, what will happen, you'll attract the same from others. But if you find yourself that you're on the receiving end of that, of course, you can defend yourself. You can become also more proactive in interactions with the invisible worlds and call for help, like some active meditation or some active prayer, and call for help and for protection from the invisible realms as well. But in the extreme case scenario, some people might feel like a psychic attack on them. Again, it's not so much in the material world, it's not so much in the visible world. It's kind of on your subconscious, on the soul level that it can manifest. But 12th house has also material manifestations to some extent. So, sorry, I forgot to say, 12th house is also vices. So this can be a fantastic time that you can use, because retrograde planet uses 3 times more willpower, 3 times more exertion it needs. But it can arm you, the universe now, with 3 times more willpower and exertion to tackle and to address some of those vices that bother you. But initially they can escalate. For example, if your vice is to drink, if your vice is to watch porn, if your vice is, everyone has different vices. That are harmful, that are self-undoing, basically, that lowers their vibration, that is secret, and we don't want people to know, so we hide it there and we pretend we don't have it, and we do it in private, So first Mars can escalate those tendencies, of course, so they can become unbearable, so they can become so much that we really get angry about them. And that can also activate your inner soldier to combat them by using 3 times more exertion, some feat of willpower. And so it sounds scary, but don't worry, I've passed through that. It's people, everyone will pass through, usually through Mars retrograde once in their lifetime in the 12th house, and it's a rare opportunity for them to tackle those vices, hidden enemies, slandering, undermining actions from others, or to really understand their subconscious, to kind of make like a operation, like a surgery there, and get to the bottom of it. Another level it can play out quite well. So let's see the positive manifestation of Mars in the 12th retrograde is that you might be called to work and to put extra time, 3 times more efforts in some behind the scenes project that you're still not bringing to the world, that you're preparing. So because 12th house is about isolation, working alone, and Mars is about applying energy, and retrograde Mars 3 times more energy. So like fixing maybe some project, and trying to bring it to, to improve it, to perfect it over the next 2-3 months, but it's still not official. You're not bringing it out of the world. You might be preparing about it as well. You might be researching about it as well. That's another thing. And people that are, for example, artists that work in the studio, they can feel really energized, even with the retrograde, to do art behind the scenes. So people who are, anyone who needs isolation to work with the imagination of some sort, or people who work in hospitals. If you work in a hospital, in kind of secluded environments, in hotel industry, in sanctuaries, hospitals, spas, on islands, in prisons of some sort, they can find themselves like in a very hectic environment, kind of that they for the next 2 months, September, October, November, almost, that they're required to really step up their game there with uh, they needed to put a lot more exertion there. They need, oh, even spiritual work, 12th house is spiritual work. People that, whether you're an artist, so you need to use the imagination, spend time alone or in secluded environments that I mentioned, or if you're in spiritual work, you might be a spiritual counselor, you might be a psychic, you might be anyone that counsels privately people in some way and works with the finer energies. You actually can find yourself that this is a very productive period, albeit challenging, albeit can put stress on you. uh, and you can even see from a different perspective certain things there. Your imagination can look from a very different point of view, certain issues. Okay. And 12th house also represents faraway countries, foreign travel, or activities with faraway countries. It might be import, export, or dealings with faraway countries where there might be some problem there that you have to fix. There might be some extra effort you need to exert in such areas, or in matters of relocation to faraway countries. They might be more stressful because retrograde is not easy. As I said, it requires 3 times more efforts, which means that it's 3 times harder than normal, but the final results can be amazing. Just like if you're preparing for something behind the scenes on some project, the final results can be amazing, but you'll see the results only after Mars starts moving direct, so November, December onwards. And another level that I've noticed with Mars retrograde in the 12th house is that sometimes it can manifest like that you feel like you're wasting your energies, like you're trying, it's like pouring water into a bucket without a bottom. And you're like, but because the 12th house is the invisible world, it's dissolves the action of Mars. So if you find yourself sometimes frustrated, like, oh, I'm trying to do this, but it's like I'm throwing my efforts to the wind almost. It's just remember that this is a possibility. Yeah, so intelligent action is preferred and more strategic actions rather than to just wasting your energy away. But another way that this Mars retrograde can really benefit you and can work out well through the more difficult things of the 12 houses, if during the Mars retrograde period, you actually get yourself involved in helping someone in need. You see how for people that work in hospitals or in prisons, they basically serve those in needs. This is other 12 house position, how actually for them it can be very good for their career. They can make them busier. It can, yes, it's harder, but it can make it a pivotal time. So you have, if you're not in such careers or spiritual careers, you have to do something charitable. Mars is action, 12 house is charity, to give away without expecting back. To practical materialistic people say that's throwing your energy to the wind, but no, that's how you kind of, you're burning old karma. Saturn likes to burn. So through some actions, through some charitable actions, get more involved in such activities, charities and stuff like that. Or even if it's not like official charity, you can just help people in need, the people that maybe go help someone that is having a hard time, take them for a walk, do something active with them, get involved with in a physical way as well, or just do something for another person, like a shoulder for others to cry on for a little bit. Just give away some of your energy for free. This is what Mars in the 12th house is, in a higher possible way it can play out. And also it's a good time to plan and research. So that's very good thing. If you want to dig deep into something and penetrate it with the brilliant logic of Mars, Mars is the most logical planet. Um, you can 12 houses research, you can really bury yourself in certain research and certain studies in deepening something. And you can have a breakthrough even in the retrograde period. It's going to be, it will require a lot of focus and concentration, but that can be a good period for this. But you're also receiving some help and support, guys, from Venus in the fourth house. So while dealing with those 12 house matters, the 12 Venus in the fourth house will be in September there, and Venus is moving direct. It's basically, it's kind of will bring some ease through who? Through family. When you're feeling, say, for example, you're having some mental worry, Mars in the 12th house can make you worry or stress, of, fear, kind of, to a level that is beyond normal. As I said, it's more like psychological process. When you're feeling like that, just have a conversation now in September and even a little bit part of October. Have a nice conversation with the family member. Ask the help of your mom, for example. Fourth house in Vedic astrology, according to my teacher, is very close friends as well. So you can receive support, someone that you feel like your family. So you can receive support as well from domestic, it can relieve the tension, or even doing something nice in your home. Plant flowers in your garden. Uh, just beautify your home a little bit, or just relax in your home. Venus is not an active planet, so it either loves to do something beautiful or to relax or to have family dinners, in the fourth house. And it is, the fourth house is the house of past as well. And it can has like a healing and the emotions, and it can kind of stabilize the emotions as well, uh, and in the privacy of your home as well. So something good can be happening with property, with home, with family as well. And you have Mercury going in your sixth house for most of the month. It's a quick, Mercury whizzes through there very fast, but it can indicate that matters regarding work, for example, you can be quite on the point. Your mind can be very active for solving problems as well at work, because Mercury is good at that. You can find yourself very interested in reading about health or nutrition, or thinking a lot about health and illnesses and what kind of healthy, and because this, it's very fast transit, but even this transitory interest in your diet, for example, in fixing, and in your diet, in reading about, or thinking about, and organizing and better planning, for example, healthier routine, of some sort. And then the sixth house is work. So that can be, your mind can be quite alert when it comes to work. You can be quite, especially jobs that are white collar jobs that require writing, speaking, talking, using your skills. And this can be also a good time to perfect certain skill of yours. The sixth house is, the apprentice, and to get a lot of small tasks done and to organize yourself better. Mercury through the sixth house basically organizes your life on the practical level a bit better. All right, so there we go with Taurus. Interesting developments. I'll see you again next month, and do join me and Brian on his fascinating webinar on the 12th, I think, of September, on a quick reading of the chart. I think that's what it's called. Yes. So that will be quite fascinating, how to interpret the chart at a fast glance, basically. Thank you so much, and I'll see you next month.